Welcome back to AI for That. Today with Emmanuel Thery, co-founder of Digital Kin, based in Lyon, France. Emmanuel, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jack. It's a pleasure.
I'm so glad you're here. So let's start. Give us a 1 to 2 sentence overview. What is Digital Kin?
Yeah, Digital Kin's mission is to enable anybody to easily make a business out of their expertise and turn that into an AI agent that they can use for themselves, for their teams, or for their own customers.
Awesome. So any expertise that somebody's developed in any area, you figure out a way to transform that into an agent so they can scale it and share it.
Yeah, and that's really a differentiating thing because most AI startups are building agents for convenient use cases, generic use cases like marketing automation, customer support, or basic development tasks, or administrative support. These are important, but typically they don't require much rigor. There's room for hallucinations, room for errors. And we like to choose the opposite path to target use cases where there's no room for error because the stakes are high, like tax credit applications, pharmaceutical research, scientific literature reviews. And these are really high stakes situations where expertise really matters. And it's not easy to transfer an expertise because when we talk to experts, most of the time, even if they're happy to transfer their expertise, it's hard for them because they haven't really formalized um, their expertise. And usually you don't do that. You don't formalize your entire expertise. It's quite impossible. So what we did is narrow as much as possible the use cases, and on a specific use case, define with the expert or let him define what should be the right output and why is it good in such situation. And then working backwards, we generate the specifications that the agents must meet in order to reach that desired output. And that's a much easier way to transfer expertise rather than just asking you, hey, describe your expertise in a coherent and complete way.
It's more of a show me, don't tell me, and then we'll abstract from that what the ingredients of the expertise is. Am I getting it?
Yeah, so I
And
can.
how I want to see it in a moment. How many outputs do you have to get from experts in order to be able to replicate their expertise?
Not a lot, because um, it's a good question. I like it because usually when you talk about AI, you think um, big data because you need to train a model on that data, and the more quality data you have, the better than the model. We don't do that. GenAI typically is induction machines. They take a lot of cases and they derive from that the probable consequences or conclusions. And so, with that approach, you always get a probable outcome. And in some cases, you can't think like that, especially when there are high stakes. You don't want just something that's probable. You want something that the best possible outcome. So, how to to leverage the right logic, which is industry specific and use case specific and sometimes expert specific, that will enable the agent to go from the desired outcome to the precise specs. You take one or two good examples. If the use case is homogeneous, that may be enough. If you have some diversity in the use case, maybe you need more. But what we do is really use, it's more than chain of thought reasoning. It's a way to cut bigger problems into subparts and subparts that are easily manageable by LLMs. And the way to do that is not trivial, but we have a specific algorithmic model enabling to do that. And if you do that right, you are able to generate what you need and to have the specs that will be reusable for future missions for any user of your agent. So it's really close to the expertise of the human expert who transferred its expertise. So that's why we called those agents kins, from the word kin, because they are like family. They are not isolated tools, but they are a collaborative network that work together to solve complex problems and that think alike the human expert. And each kin will specialize in specific tasks, but can collaborate with others when needed. So that's what we call the agentic mesh. It's an interconnected network of specialized AI agents. That's how you break the complexity into smaller pieces that are easily manageable by individual agents.
So it sounds like you're much more of the perspective that the best way to use agents is not one agent that has so much expertise in everything. It's rather sort of a team of expert specialized agents that are somehow coordinated. Is that right?
Yes, that's right, and that's the right way to manage complexity. That's the right way to manage complex thinking, and also to get the best tools available in the agentic mesh, because sometimes they need to connect to a specific tool, a specific database, and this is always evolving. So if you develop a kin using our platform, maybe it's perfect on day one, but then are you sure that on day two you don't have a better tool somewhere or a better model that should be used to improve the performance of your kin? Because everybody knows the pace of AI progress right now is terrific. So you have to be ready for that, and that's why the architecture is based on a specific SDK that we developed. So basically everything is modular brick that you can plug or unplug, and the agents are able to find the right tools for a specific task, so that it's constantly evolving in an organic way.
And it sounds like the kins, they can work with each other. Can they also
Yes.
work with or interact with agents produced elsewhere?
So today you don't have a standard protocol for interacting between agents. You have protocols like MCP from Anthropic enabling communication from LLM to tool, but that's it. Beyond that, it's not a real agentic mesh. Our SDK comes with a protocol that enables true agent-to-agent communication. So they can collaborate, and it's a standardized way to ensure they can communicate, even if they don't know each other from the beginning.
Wow, very exciting. Okay, can you give us a glimpse of what this looks like?
Yeah, with pleasure. So let's have a look. Okay, maybe. So here you can see several agents that you can use on the store. You can see the ones that you hire for yourself or your team, and here is the part where you will transfer your expertise to have your own kin reflecting your specific expertise. So yeah, let's get started. First, you start from an archetype. The one on the left is more easy. It's similar to a GPT if you want, but included in the agentic mesh. Okay. Then the one in the middle has much more capabilities. It's more similar to a deep search agent but that you can customize. You can customize everything. You can customize already everything on the left. It has internet access. You can prompt it the way you want. But here, the one in the middle, you can do much more and generate complex documents with it, using your expertise. And one on the right is the most complex, that you would use to build more rigorous scientific work with high stakes. And that's the one we use for fiscal stakes or scientific or health issues. Yeah, that's the one. Maybe I can show you a bit more
Yeah, let's
how
take a
we
quick.
would use it when it's configured. Okay, first just maybe have a look at how you would configure it here. So you have a setup. It's LLM agnostic, so we can put any model we want. You have a system prompt. You have all the settings if you want, but you can almost ignore that part because it's technical, and we want anybody that's non-technical but just has an industry-specific expertise to be able to build his skin without having to deal with all that complexity, like which model, which temperature, and so on. So the important part is the assistant here that will generate the right prompts for you. And that's where you can upload files, like showing what is your desired output, what is your definition of quality in your precise context, because that's where only the expert can tell what is good and what's not. So you can say, I want to build a kin for research tax credit application, and it will help you to precise your needs and to generate everything that's required. I don't think we have time to go through the whole process and to deploy the agent right now, so I will jump, if you want, to one that has already been done,
Yeah,
to
let's
show
see it.
you how it looks like when you use it. So that one is a complex agent that is helping you to do literature reviews. So that one has been used by a real by prospect, actually. So it's quite specific. The more narrow and high-end the use case and the research question, the more expert it is, the better the wow effect in the end, because here the expert would realize that a topic that is so difficult for normal humans to understand has been actually understood by the kin. So here it's the kin is doing a huge job in terms of helping define the precise need. In this case, the user wants to know if there are applications in the medical field of a specific additive manufacturing technique. And it's difficult to provide all the right information in zero shot. So the kin is here to help you to analyze each answer and propose steps to make sure you have a complete request that is well formulated. And here is the reformulated request. You have the context, you have the questions, you have the dates after which you want to select the scientific articles. You have
So
the
am I
language, you have
getting it right?
everything. Yeah.
The first part is essentially like the kin is like, let me help you ask a better question.
Yeah.
And from that, it gets a refined question or a refined prompt that's much better. And then it uses that prompt on itself with its own expertise and context to answer the much better prompt. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Because that's the most important part. There's no good answer to a bad question. So if you don't force the user kindly force the user to ask the right question, you have no chance to have the right output. So Einstein once said, if I had 1 hour to solve a problem, I spend 55 minutes defining the problem and 5 minutes solving it. And
Yeah.
most startups do the opposite. They focus on solutions because they have a cool tech, but they don't spend enough time truly understanding the problem. And yeah, we built our entire approach around this principle. It's specifically designed to analyze problems the way humans should, but rarely do.
I love that. I love that.
So here, a first preliminary analysis from the kin. It's quite complex. It's very relevant. So here, my prospects were very happy to see that, and it will stop here to ask again. Okay, are you happy with this? Is it aligning with your expectations? Am I heading in the right directions, or would you like to adjust any aspects before I proceed to developing the search queries? So I say go ahead, but I could challenge the kin and do another round if I wanted. So here are the queries it will use to research the articles on Google Scholar, PubMed, and other scientific databases. So it's transparent. It's not a black box. You see actually which are the queries it used. So it's not pulling an article out of his black box, a magical black box. And here it will work in full autonomy. So you can watch what it does. Here I'm going a bit fast because it would take about 20-25 minutes if we were watching it live. So for the sake of time, I'm just showing you 743 papers identified, 59 documents scored as relevant or highly relevant. You can tune that to make sure it scores the way you want. So it saves the most relevant, here 26. It builds a precise corpus around that, and anything that will be cited in the final report comes from this corpus. So it's not hallucinated, it's not generated, it's directly from the raw source. So here is the document. It's written by several assistants working together. So you have several workers inside the kin. So here you see the agentic mesh in action. So that guy is checking if the other one did a good job and providing the instruction for the next phase. And here is your report being written. And in the end, I'm going very fast for the sake of time. And here you have a full PDF in the end. Of course, you have it in an editable version. It's 46 pages. It's beautiful. No hallucination. You have a table of content. You can click on any part and see all the citations. Here, if I click on a link, I go directly to the references. So all the references here are correct. You have the link to the actual article. You have the number of times this was cited. So here I can click to the link and download the actual article it was based on. So I have all the proofs. Let's see, what is that article? Okay, yeah, it's quite relevant to the topic we wanted. So yeah, so that's the opposite of the black box approach of models that you don't understand, that you can tune to your own expertise. It's generic stuff, and experts usually don't like that. So yeah, I think you've seen the main principles of the solution.
Wow. I'm really just in awe. And let me just sum up what you're just showing us. So if I'm getting it, once you develop the expertise, it helps you develop a refined prompt. It uses that prompt to then do a comprehensive search of any relevant sources, databases. It doesn't just use that then. First, it evaluates which of those sources are actually relevant and pass muster. And
Yeah. That's a key element. Thanks for asking. You don't have much control over the selection process of ChatGPT Deep Search or Gemini Deep Search or Perplexity.
Right.
You can provide some directions, but here we had customers, especially in pharmaceutical companies, who wanted to be, they were adamant that the way articles are selected or rejected should respect a very precise ontology. So it's not something that you can improvise and just see if it seems kind of relevant to an LLM, but it has to be it has to be very very precise. And I can show you maybe an example of a scoring method just
Yeah.
for illustration. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So
Clinical
here
or
they
preclinical.
wanted to have a differentiated way of scoring the article, whether it's clinical or preclinical. Then you evaluate the clinical criteria, you evaluate the results, the statistical significance, the effect size, confidence intervals. You evaluate the conclusion, the robustness of the findings, consistency with literature, and you provide in the end a global score with a weighted formula. And it's completely their own sauce, if you want. It's they wanted it to behave like that and to respect that ontology, so be it. And if you have another way to select sources, we'll be happy to provide that to your kin.
Yeah. I love it. And I think what it, to your earlier point, so much of general generative AI has been built and based on extremely large data sets. And
Yeah.
what you're pointing to here is that actually constraining the data from which responses are derived is key to keeping the quality bar high, and you get to uh, identify and select specific criteria for what will constrain the data set.
Yes, and and you build the data sets for the specific mission here in this case. It could be you could imagine we have kins that don't require to search databases, but in many cases that's the hard work and that's a lot of the value, because for a human to do that, it's so time consuming, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
human expert only who can do that. If I ask an intern to do that, he will say, "Wow, this article looks good," but he has no clue. So those are PhD folks who are doing that. So it's quite costly.
Yeah.
So yeah, to reach the quality bar, you need to have the right document template in the end. Here you've seen 40, 50 pages document, well structured, no hallucination, and so on. But you need to have, more importantly, the right selection of sources in your data set. And here we build it on purpose for this specific mission.
Wow. Wow. And I love what you said earlier that I love the Einstein quote. It's one of my all time favorites. But I
Yeah.
liked your addition that there's no good answer to a bad question. Um, and it just walk us through a little bit of how you and your co-founder sort of landed on this problem to solve. Is let me state the problem and then you refine it. Is the problem that people are not clearly defining the problem, or is it something more essential, something different that ultimately you guys are solving for?
Hmm. Well, um, it's something we've been confronted a lot with my co-founder Sébastien. When actually we met when I was working for Michelin. I was in charge of developing connected mobility offers using car data to make tire wear prediction with car makers, and we built a pilot project with Tesla, and that's where I met Sébastien. He was my consultant on this project, and we we worked several years in consulting because I left Michelin to follow him in that venture, and we were always confronted to the same problem. People are bad at phrasing the problem, and it's very difficult to ask the right question. And we knew when we had identified what is the right question that most of the job was done, and that in the end it was just a matter of communicating it the right way. So we thought a lot with Sebastian about how to analyze problems, bigger problems, and cut them into manageable pieces in the consulting space prior to using that in the AI space. So we were confronted to AI problems and with our customers, but we weren't directly using this approach with them at first for solving AI problems, but merely to understand their business problems, their organization problems, and that's how it started. And when we realized that we could use this approach to drive and manage multi-agent systems, that's what we wanted to test on a real case, use case as soon as possible to see if you were dreaming or if it was it had a real application. And since it was the case, we launched Digital Kin in 2023. But that's a specific approach because it started with management science, really, how to analyze a business problem and cut it in smaller parts in a way that's manageable. Another reference I like to quote is Thinking Fast and Slow from Daniel Kahneman, if you know. So most of the time, we humans think with system one, which is fast thinking, is very efficient, and the brain is very efficient and trained to do that. But for complex problems that require reasoning, it doesn't work. You need to slow it down, and I like to think slow, to get things until the pieces are manageable, and there you can reason the right way, and that's also another way to look at the approach. It's a very good analogy of what we do at Digital.
Yeah, I love that. And as someone who spends most of my living asking people questions, trying to help them understand really what they're solving for, what their challenge is, the approach resonates deeply. If people want to explore digital kin, if they want to build their own kins, where would they find you? How would they do that?
Well, I suggest that just press digitalkin.com on Google, and they will find the platform very easily, and they will just follow the funnel, click on the right buttons, and it should be very easy. It's really the ease of building your own kin is overarching principle guiding the design of our platform and everything we do. So we want you to be autonomous in doing it. The first kins, of course, we did ourselves with a lot of efforts and time, but we now really reached the point where you can do it, and you just call if you have an issue, but normally you shouldn't. Especially if you use the simple archetype, it's really like building a GPT. If you've done that already, it's not that complicated. It's just better here because it's included in the agentic mesh, so it can collaborate with others. It can be found also by others. But then if you use the most complex archetypes, you have the chatbot that is here to help you and to help you. Again, it's the same story again. Ask the right question.
Yeah. I love that distinction also, that different from custom GPTs, um, kins can interact with other kins. So there's a much greater, much higher ceiling for
Yeah.
what's possible there.
So it's still the beginning, to be honest, of that platform, because until now, in August, people haven't been able to do that autonomously. So um, you are privileged to have seen what you just seen, the first part of the platform, because it will only be launched in September.
Awesome.
So
I've seen
you
the
don't
future.
have already. Sorry, say that
I've seen
again.
the future.
Yes, you've seen the future. So we'll communicate a bit more in September. And so we hope to have many more kins created so that the agentic mesh becomes much more populated. Um, so yeah, of course, it's connectable with other agents outside our ecosystem. It's compatible with the major standards. It's the SDK is Python based and so on. But you it works best between kins and between modules that have been developed within the SDK.
Very cool. All right. So if listeners are wanting to find you, they can Google digital kin or go to
Yeah,
hub.digitalkin.ai. Uh, and you can find Emmanuel Thery on LinkedIn as well. Emmanuel, thank you so much for time and the inspiration.